Hi, I am Dr. Mariana Solorzano and I want to welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to talk to you about something very interesting about the metabolism of the carbohydrates and what happens with the glucose in our body. And I'm using Legos so that you are gonna understand it and it's gonna be great, you're gonna love it. So let's imagine that we are this giraffe and you just ate this corn. Well, what happens? Well, you digest it, it goes to our stomach, then to our small intestine, and then it's broken in small particles, for example, in glucose. So let's bring the glucose here. This is our bloodstream. So the glucose is everywhere here in our blood. And yes, the glucose is important because it is used as fuel in our cells. We have it here, so all these things are the glucose. And if you read my article, you know that the glucose has to get into the cells. It doesn't have to stay here in the blood. It has to get into the cells. So let's bring the cell. These are our cells, and they have a small door because someone has to open the door in order that the glucose gets into the cell. And that is why we have insulin. This is insulin that is produced by our pancreas. And this is how it works. Well, when we have glucose in our body, in our blood, then we produce insulin, and then the glucose comes to our cells and say, hey, please, I want to come in. And then the insulin says, okay, well, cell, I'm gonna open the door, right? Yes, good. Then you open the door, well, the insulin opens the door, and then the glucose gets into the cell. This is how it works. Well, and this is like, when everything is fine, there's a great a balance between how much glucose, how much insulin, how much gets in, and how much stays in our blood. So the balance is perfect. But what happens when someone has been consuming a lot of carbohydrates during many years and a lot of sugar and soft drinks, and well, what happens is that you won't have only this amount of glucose. You will have, like, imagine it is full, so the glucose doesn't know what to do there, and they say, okay, we have to get all into the cell. So they start like knocking the door and driving the cell crazy and all the time. So at the beginning the glucose gets in, the insulin opens the door, but after a few years or months, there occurs something called insulin resistance. That means that the cell is so tired of that glucose insulin opening the door all the time that she gets insulin resistance, and that means that the insulin says, oh, please, we have more glucose that wants to get in. Hello, cell, please open the door. Hello, look, we have more glucose that wants to get in. Hello. And then the cell is like, oh, you're driving me crazy. I don't want more glucose anymore. Don't you get it? Okay. And then, well, the insulin, the body tries to compensate that, and the pancreas produces even more insulin at the beginning. So the patients who before they get really like diabetes, they get something called insulin resistance, and they sometimes have the insulin is even elevated in blood because the body tries to compensate that, and he thinks that if he has more insulin in their blood, maybe the glucose is going to open the cell is going to open the door, but not. So, well, and after many years, when the pancreas is producing insulin like crazy, then there's one point when he cannot produce anymore, and then the patient has like officially diabetes and needs insulin. So let's see, you have to that's why you have to make lifestyle changes in order to avoid getting all those things. Well, and then let's see what happens with all this glucose here in the blood. What's the problem? Well, the problem is that the glucose can make reactions with the proteins. Those are the proteins. And the proteins have a lot of functions in our body. They are very, very important. They function like receptors, mediators, and well, there's a reaction called non-enzymatic glycation, and that means that the glucose binds to the proteins, just like that. So the glucose is altering the form of the proteins, and the proteins are not working properly anymore. So imagine that your proteins in your body suddenly don't work well. Yes, so of course this protein looks completely different than, than the other one that is only blue, and that's why all the complications of diabetes start. These proteins well, these products are in the blood, and they are in the small vessels. So that's why the patients they start damaging the small vessels, and that's why the most important cause of death in diabetic patients are heart attack, because all these products are damaging the small arteries. And during that reaction, there are also produced so-called waste products. I'm gonna bring them. The waste products are just like waste or garbage that is produced during this reaction. So in our blood you don't have only this, but also these products that are called advanced glycation end products, and they together damage all the small vessels. And as I told you, that's why diabetics get all these complications. For example, retinopathy, damage in the arteries of the eyes, and also nephropathy means damage of the arteries in the kidneys, and neuropathy means the damage in your nerves. So these products are really destroying everything everywhere, and that's why I want to explain this to you so that you understand and make life changes right now. Sorry. And we have a very, very important protein called collagen. You know, collagen. Everybody wants to have collagen, you know. Everybody wants to have soft skin and look young and stuff like that. So the most important anti-aging step you can do is start to avoid sugar. And why? Because glucose, collagen is also a protein, and this glucose also binds to collagen. So your collagen is not working properly anymore, and well, your skin is not gonna be so firm, or yes, it's gonna be so you're not gonna look so young anymore if you start consuming glucose or, well, refined sugars all the time. So the most important thing you can do is start avoiding sugar, refined sugar. Well, I don't want to have a collagen like that because I know it's not gonna work so much for my skin. So you don't have to be diabetic in order to understand that, because as you see, these reactions are already producing their damage everywhere. So you don't have to wait in order to have a disease or be diabetic in order to start to make your life changes. So please, I'm gonna read the article about this topic, and I'm gonna show you more information about how to make life changes in order to avoid all these complications. You don't have to be sick. You have to do it if you're healthy, so that you stay for longer time healthy. So I hope you like this video, and I wish you a great day. Goodbye. Hee hee.